Here, you should come look at this. He's perched, he looks really nice. That's a good view of him.
Oh, yeah.
The Florida Grasshopper Sparrow is one of the most endangered birds in North America. Here at Avon Park Air Force Range, over the past 10 years, we've had 10 individuals or fewer. But since we became a part of the reintroduction program, the captive release program, we've actually seen those numbers increase.
Range control, Panther 1, do you copy?
Panther 1, range control. You're approved.
We're driving into Avon Park Air Force Range, and this is an active military bombing range, but it's so beautiful it feels like a national park. And when you tell people you're going to a bombing range to photograph an endangered species, I'm not sure they quite picture it like this.
When I was offered this position, the former commander told me about the Florida Grasshopper Sparrow and the threatened and endangered species here. The obvious question was, why are you doing active bombing in an area where there are endangered species? Well, we have 106,000 acres, only about 2,000 or so is actually active bombing. One of the requirements for a grasshopper sparrow is to live in an area that's susceptible to wildfires. They like low vegetation and only about 1 tree per acre. And so by doing the prescribed burn and just the bombing in general that keeps the area clear, we give them the habitat they need.
In order to be an effective training venue for our military forces, we have to take care of this land. And so that led to us being designated in 2016 as the nation's 4th Sentinel Landscape. The Sentinel Landscape is a prioritized landscape area where the Department of the Interior, the Department of Agriculture, and the Department of Defense all have common objectives, have gotten together and engages our state partners who share those same values. We work with landowners to protect their working lands. We work with conservation agencies to protect the habitat of the species that live in this area. And if we do those 2 things well, we by default protect the military mission. Big Al.
Hey, Buck, how you doing?
How are you, sir?
Pretty good. You caught me right in the middle of doing a big order of the store grass here.
A perfect example is a property called Florinda Farms. My hat really goes off to Big Al because he is willing to put a conservation easement on his property and in perpetuity keep that land in a compatible use with the military mission.
To be a landowner and to show all of the kids what you could actually do with nature and allowing this airspace for our country, it really means a lot to me.
I think one of the examples of the success of the Avon Park Sentinel Landscape has been our ability to create this patchwork of conservation properties, this mosaic across multiple landowners in the Everglades headwaters, right smack dab in the middle of the Florida Wildlife Corridor.
We're here today because there's a really important release of the Florida Grasshopper Sparrow, and it's been a tremendous recovery. We're through habitat conservation, working with many partners here. They've brought this little bird back from the brink of extinction.
When I got to Avon Park Air Force Range in 2008, our Florida Grasshopper Sparrow population had declined precipitously to the point where there were only 2, maybe 3 known birds on the installation. I personally never dreamed I would actually get to see one, much less see a bunch of them, much less get to welcome a bunch of people here to celebrate the captive breeding program. And just thank you. Because of the partnerships, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission, we are seeing great results of that captive breeding program.
So we just opened these 2 aviaries. There's 10 birds over here. They'll be joining 38 birds out here on the prairie. It's a story full of a lot of hope for an endangered species when a lot of endangered species don't get to have that kind of hope.
This is a model for the rest of the country to where we can take that military compatibility and that military mission and work in sync with conservation efforts in working lands. This little brown bird is bringing us together.